for February 12th. Now call the roll. Kristen Nixon, she's here. Sue Christensen's here. Angie Hillstrand. Curtis is not going to be here. Lynn Siemens here. Aaron Peterson. I
Here.
know you're. I can see you. And
Okay.
Wade Free is not here. Morgan is not here. I don't believe. No, I don't see her. Casey Adderholt. And Al Parks. God, oh, he's out there getting drugged around by his dogs. He'll be here shortly. When he shows up, we'll have 7 people, so we'll have a quorum. Let's move on. Next is to approve or any additions to the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda. Sue. Sue approves. Glenn seconds. Thank you. Next is to approve the minutes from January 8th, 2020. Anybody have any corrections, additions, subtractions? Thank you very much. Mr. Parks has arrived. Hi. Sorry. I need a motion to approve the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Thank you. 10 seconds. Any objections? Seeing none, hearing none, the minutes are approved. And I would just like to make one comment about the minutes. Again, the official minutes for this organization is the recording. If it's not on the recording, we're not going to add it to the minutes that we have here. Unless there is some corrections, technical things. Adding a whole lot for the record. Can't do that. It has to be brought up with me. There might be a few technical things that the discussion was not correct. Whatever you guys want to do, but I was told that the official minutes to be recorded, and we do our best to try and make these minutes that are written somewhat close to those. Any questions? Thank you for that. Next is public comment. Anybody from the public like to make a comment? All right. We'll close the public comment and move on. Next, we have a visitor tonight, Dave Brand, that wants to speak about the Alaska Statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan. Story.
So, Dave Brand here. I have become an advocate for SCORE. This document right here, they put it out every 5 years. It takes 2 years to develop it and so on. It's the Alaska Statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan. This one is 2023 to 2027. It's not just state parks. It's about outdoor recreation, and it covers all kinds of interest, but it's an amazing document. I asked Jason if he could get copies for the CAB and so on. So he was able to get 2 from the state. I got one of them, because he knows I'm going to mark it up, put sticky notes in it, just underline stuff. So I didn't look at many graphs in here, but there's lots of good stuff. So what I did, it took me about 2 weeks to get through that, a couple hours a night, looking through reading and so on. So this is my version, shortened version, trying to cherry pick the things that I think are really important about the park and so on. So this is a biased version for sure. But I'm just going to run through some of the things that I highlighted here. So on. So from the 2023-27 plan, it's points for consideration from SCORP. So the SCORP plan is updated every 5 years as required by the Land and Water Conservation Grant Fund. Every state is required to do this. They want to get land and water conservation funds. So these funds, matched within Alaska, provide approximately a combined total of $5 million per year for outdoor recreation projects and land acquisition. So by doing this plan, Alaska gets approximately $5 million. Now, how that gets shared out and spent is another whole thing. So, but in the introduction, Governor Dunleavy wrote that the updated score represents our ongoing commitment to public outdoor recreation. Our commitment, the score serves as a reference for outdoor recreation usage trends and various components that are crucial to Alaska's economy. So that's Governor Dunleavy's statement. So when I write him a letter, I'm going to include that, and say, okay, look, Ricky Geese, Director of Parks and Outdoor Recreation, wrote, the DPOR initiated this update of the statewide comprehensive outdoor recreation plan with three primary intentions: to expand partnerships, generate a new set of outdoor recreation data tools, and to produce a broad, encompassing set of Alaska-centric outdoor recreation goals and collaboration for funding and management. I admittedly up front underlined a lot of stuff in it that says we need increased funding for parks and outdoor recreation. One outdoor recreation fact: nationwide, American consumers spend over $800 billion a year on outdoor recreation. Trail sports, camping, and water sports are the top three things. Trail sports. Smart public improvements in outdoor recreation consistently deliver a big return on investment, typically $5 back for every dollar. So if you all think that way, and when we make one of the SCORP strategies, and they list a number of strategies here, is to make outdoor recreation a cornerstone of Alaska's economic future. Strategies include new recreation destinations, improved access to dispersed recreation use from destinations that successfully support large volumes to less visited, wilder places. Increasing outdoor recreation investment is a top SCORP priority. Some of their things listed: to expand opportunities for hiking, public use gardens, and hut-to-hut systems; to invest in sustainable built-to-last infrastructure; to grow state and sustainable outdoor recreation funding. SCORP provides guidance for the RTP program. Trails provide access to what makes Alaska unique. Outdoor recreation has direct ties to public health and wellness for all Alaskans. One job in every 10 in Alaska is tied to outdoor recreation. 1 in 10 Alaskan is tied to outdoor recreation. Trail construction is a growing business enterprise. Each state is required to update the SCORP every 5 years to remain eligible for funds. Outdoor recreation is one of the few bright spots in Alaska's economy. I think that's a great statement. And if we just need to convince some of the people up the line that that is really the case. Yeah. From 2010 to 2019, a lot of these things in here are a little bit dated, because this covers 5 years, and it takes 2 years of gathering information to put it together to get this document and so on. But so from 2010 to 2019, budgets of Alaska's major public outdoor recreation agencies have been stable or declining, while outdoor recreation continues to grow. So either stable funding thing, but what we want to do outdoors is growing. Alaska's
Stable or decline?
stable.
Did you say stable or decline?
Yeah, the
Income?
budgets from 2010 and 19, budgets of Alaska's major public outdoor recreation agencies have been stable or declining. So it stayed the same, across the board maybe, but the interest in outdoor recreation is growing big time. So people are wanting to get out on trails, wanting to have biking trails and all these kinds of things, but the funding isn't supporting that growth. Another quote in here: Alaska's outdoor recreation tourism industry is a bright spot in Alaska's struggling economy. In a public survey, when asked what additional facilities are most needed, Alaska ranked public use cabins, campgrounds, restrooms, and highway waste as needing the most development. The public preference for funding, Alaskans want primarily to use state general funds and increased use of federal recreation dollars. Good luck with that last line, but anyway, increase general funds money. So when we say, hey, our commercial permits and so on going to the general fund, then they're saying we should ask for more of those general funds. Factors restricting user demand of outdoor recreation is lack of staffing, inadequate operating budgets, and lack of access. Here, Kachemak Bay State Park, I think we have pretty good access, across the water taxis and stuff like that, but, we could use some more staffing in this state park here, and this, and so on. We could use a bigger operating budget. So Jason and Eric and Hans and all of us could do more things. Chapter 4 on this: expand public use cabins and hut-to-hut systems. Public use cabins have never been busier. Overall growth is 113%. Alaska needs more public use cabins in the right locations. Those accessible by road receive more use. Try to make this quick here. As demand for outdoor recreation increases, land managers, and there were surveys that went out to various outdoor recreation managers in the state here on which types of facilities to improve or create. Land managers rank the following as the highest priority or strong need: maintaining and improving existing trails, expanding non-motorized trails, improving trailhead capacity, parking lots, the bathrooms, the information signs, and so on. Ricky Geese wrote, "We struggle to fill positions in every category. The people who manage our parks, grant administration, engineering, law enforcement, planning management, campground hosts, they're struggling to find enough people in all of those categories." In the book, why? Why is that? They're not being funded, from the state or whoever. The land manager survey, and this is like the managers, like rangers and whoever. We need more park rangers. State park projects are run by volunteers. The park system is running on fumes. And that's not saying anything about our hardworking people that we have here. It's just the state is recognizing that they can't do it all. You get one or two rangers for Kachemak Bay State Park. Alaska needs a new era of outdoor recreation investments in the hundreds of millions to meet the current demand to support inevitable growth, repair facilities, and open access to new outdoor recreation areas. These investments pay for themselves. And again, you invest $1 million this year, doesn't mean you're gonna get $1 million next year, but it comes back. And one of the things, a secure or the minimum required state match for land and water conservation dollars. It happened in the legislative budget, but we've left money on the table because the state hasn't come up with the receipt authority. The legislature has to fund receipt authority to accept land and water conservation funds. And a couple of years back, there was a big goal, and we left a lot of money on the table. Yeah, I think, I'm not sure.
It filled the spot for an administrator. So, but I think that they did get conservation fund money.
With the receipt authority, I thought that.
Yeah, the receipt authority, I think they did get it last year, I think, but it was a year or two before that. Anyway, last thing, the consequences of inadequate funding are clear. Deteriorating and overcrowded trails. Examples of facilities that can generate significant program receipts, revenue, include public use cabins. So anyway, that's my thing. I sent a copy to Robert. He can forward a copy of this to anybody. And these are just, again, my bias things that I picked out. Anybody wants to borrow the marked up book and see what,
But anybody else?
Well, I'll let Robert have it out for us.
We could fight over.
Okay, we can share it.
I have a question.
We can get this online and.
Sure, go ahead.
And they are online,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
if you can't find the one and online, we would do this kind of stuff. Thank you.
Hey, Dave. You're gonna do some questions a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Mr. Starks, go ahead. Through the chair.
Through the chair, you said something that caught my interest. It was one in every 10 Alaskans. What is working in that
In
industry?
outdoor recreation some way,
One in every 10 Alaskans.
so. If there's
So you
20 of us in here, 2 of us are tied to outdoor recreation in some form, but most of us are one way or another in this one.
and so your comments were very general in terms of like the public use cabins. But visitors overuse of areas like in the road system being overused and some of the remote areas aren't getting enough access. Is that good?
Yeah, I think that's some of the stuff that I interpreted out of the score. And so on. I mean, they say there's a need for public use cabins, smart locations. The ones by the road get the most use because it's easier for people to get to, drive to for overnight fun. But there's also a need for ones further away. Like the hut systems, like on the long trail that might develop, is being developed. But some backcountry cabins are also popular, and high demand according to this review. And this is basically put together through Alaska Trails as kind of the lead organization that goes on. One thing I would encourage the CAB, Kachemak Bay State Park, as far as I found, was not mentioned in this score plan. Now, there's one full-page picture of Grace Ridge, and that's it. But it talked about the Central Peninsula. It talked about Salteshi, and I applaud them wholeheartedly what they've done. But Kachemak Bay State Park, Wilderness Park wasn't mentioned. The Wilderness Park, there was a map in there that shows it, but didn't label Kachemak Bay State Park. So I would encourage people on this board or people that you know to get involved with how do I help or how do I contribute to the next score, which is starting to be planned right now. 2027 is when this one is done, so 28. So it takes 2 years to put it together. So
Do they have demographics in there about who's visiting?
yeah,
And do they mention the cruise industry?
not so much, it's in there, but I kind of skip over that. That's not
Right,
my interest areas, but anyway,
Well, I think I think, because what I think about when I hear this, the economics of it, I hear about the traditional resources we have in the state, which are commercial fishing, oil and gas, and how those industries are declining, and our state budget is being affected greatly by both of that. At one point, commercial fishing was the largest employer in the state, and it's, there's a mass exodus from the processing sector out of the fishing industry in Alaska, so that the understanding of that, along with the understanding of the growth in tourism, because I think that's what it is, tourism, and then zeroing in on it in a micro way to Kachemak, because we have, like if we were going to try and promote Kachemak Bay, to maximum access, that's a deep subject.
Yeah.
And it's not an affordable park. I mean, for families, it's expensive. It's expensive. And that's why it's really great for doing this work on this side of the bay.
Yeah.
But I just think about, anyway, I don't want to drag on. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. The economics of it are big.
Yeah, this,
One in every 10 Alaskans is working in the outdoor industry. Are they making a living?
That's the topic.
That's another topic.
Yeah.
It is. Well, when we're talking about funding and we're talking about wanting more rangers and stuff, we've got to figure out that, because that's what moves the politics of it. It's not going to be, and then anyway, it's just that I agree with you.
The other thing is Alaska is a premier destination. It's going to be out of reach for a lot of people, just because it costs much.
yeah.
Thanks a lot.
That's great, but.
Anyway, I would encourage people to
Welfare scenario. I'm sure you're.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Yep,
So is there a board? A scoring board? And is there representations? I understood that there was no representation from the South Key.
No, I don't think so. They talked about the Central Peninsula, but there was nothing down here, and I don't know how that board is chosen, but I think Alaska Trails is a good place to start. Steve Cleary, check with him and say, okay, how do we get representation on the spot board and so on, and then getting more information on how to have an impact on where the funds that we do get, for recreation, from the license plates, from rental cars, that kind of stuff, how it's distributed, because, I mean, that's all up the line, and yeah.
Well, if you want to do it now, being that we're on one subject, I see Wendy Sanders with us too tonight.
Yeah, but as far as the receipt funding, Parks asked for two funding sources, exception being federal funding, which grants, so the equivalent to tax, and user fees. User fees include client fees paid by the water tax and the parking.
We don't use them. Right? You need ads and parking.
Citation. Correct.
Harder to keep it.
Don't say that again in public recording. The point being is, those two funding sources for state part, it's about even. So $5 billion we received in cost state, about 5 million ish we received in people budget tax. People budget tax is $10 million we split out BOT fees, the receipt ability, talked about that to essentially spend that amount of fees for next year. So $10 million operating state parks. The region here we receive about a little over $800,000 a year, and we're plus of that increase our operating expenses. So not to receive earners are we get state park, and that's parks for creating diversity of parks. That's no, right? That's interesting. So as far as general fund monies, very little, like $100,000 fund dollars. That's the second tax. The budget tax is tax basically the difference on the state lines. It's split between transportation parts. Both of those fund districts for this outdoor recreation. Legislation.
My knowledge when we went through that, trying to get all the Ubers and all the other vehicles, not necessarily renters, but our transportation services, but they have to pay too. And it does not go to the general fund, it goes to the DOT.
We go into tax, we get all of our share for this year for fees. We're next for commercial operating fees. Those all go to the same fund as $5 in the budget.
So let me make sure on that.
Yeah.
Commercial operators fees do not go into the general fund. They go to parks.
They all. I don't know how detailed we want to go.
It goes in the general.
We get receipt authority to spend the money.
Which is appropriate back out in the general.
What you say in the general fund. The state. Yeah, we don't have like a war chest. It comes into the end of the fund, and the legislature, the governor authorizes us to spend what we receive. Mostly, but using that. Yeah, so it's the legislature.
It's going to be pretty steeply this year.
I'm expecting that.
Alan,
Yeah, sure. Thanks for long. Did I catch what you said correctly? Is that the budget is $1 million
Yeah,
and you take in 800 in revenue?
little over.
So it's a great deal
It is.
for the state.
Or it's,
I mean, so, and it's a great deal for the state. It's one, anyway, it's kind of interesting.
yeah, so we're using,
It's not costing the state but $150,000.
well, and, you know, so the shortage from us comes from another park, say Chugach, and then that's the more money, right? So
Oh,
it's all thrown in this wash of, it's just, so,
right.
so yeah, there's no, there's very minimal operating costs to the state of Alaska for state parks.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of like, anyway, it's kind of interesting, you know, it would be good to understand the state budget. Thanks
Yeah.
for your time.
Yeah, I can, send it to Robert, I mean, like, I won't do that, just, side step of that. So this DNR, DNR budget for the year, you can look at what parks has in it for the year for this government budget. That's good. I don't mind looking at because that's pie charts, so, yeah.
Well, I think, if I may, I think one of the things that has been over in my mind was part of the theme coming from state is that, you know, we're not paying for ourselves. You know, we're just a bunch of, you know, we're a money suck. And you know, it's, so that the, and it's part of what Friends has been trying to figure out on the economic stuff of it. It's all, I'm totally interested in it. Whatever you can say, Robert, we check it out. Right?
It's,
We should.
There's a, you know, when we worked in DNR for 10 years, this last to learn that is parks sources. Similarly, but that's just, so, you know, it's good and bad. But the good is that we are self-sufficient. So there's no, if that's done, we consider self-sufficient. That is good. That's not bad. Well, rare, it's not bad.
And the capital improvement money is probably pretty soon too.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. That's a good example to just throw capital improvement funding, which we were not slated. I think the government funded this year. That is money that we will get for example for capital repair of items we Diamond Creek Trail washout, right? You said that's going to cost $30,000 to fix. We get some money to fix it. That would be general fund dollars.
Just a couple of questions. Like if we were to get our economic impact study done, and like what I envision is we take it to the legislature. Say, this is what we're bringing in to this fund such as sports. So that's what I would like to see happen with our impact study. Figure out how to do it. I wonder about parking things like what you're working on out of Eastland. You know, I know there's no guarantee that what if we did put parking costs in place that it would come back to the general fund, but with that, get more money.
Money. That's my understanding is, you know, the relationship parts sad, but that's the best part. Stakeholders. You know, like we have interest groups here to help us manage portions of the park. Because of that fees and it's new staff and resources.
And when Chuck was in before, he did the outdoor recreation, big shot of money. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there's an active.
Yeah. The great outdoors.
I don't think it was Trump though. There's a bond.
Okay. He got credit for it anyway, but, is there any possibility or any talk of income?
No, I'm not, we do for RTP grants, recreational trail program grants, and then there's state level funding, which we compete for, which we've been successful in the program. As far as I'm.
And land and water conservation?
Yes.
It's interesting to see what. Parks,
It's just, I don't know, this, it's not. So,
see, let's see.
Straight, the receipt authority, can they have to match that? And the water conservation fund money.
we have to- Right.
So it's complicated. And I'll tell you what, just reading the newspapers these days, it's not very rosy down. I would not be surprised. State parks used to have to deal with sweep funds back into the general fund. And then they do a reverse sweep, if I'm not mistaken, and those funds would be reallocated for parks. In that one year, it wasn't gonna happen. A tough year in that vision. Anyway, thank you all. That's a pretty good discussion. It's something to stay on. Hope the Dragon, Dr. Sarah.
Sarah,
Yeah, so Gary Stevens. Do we have any champions in the legislature? You know,
Everyone with that schedule's too.
all right, we'll do it, but I mean, right, you know,
right answer. He's on the record.
That was great.
all right, we'll drop it there.
There's a joke there, right? Will our minutes reject the laughter?
No, the official minutes, well,
No, okay, great.
Thank you, Hans. Well, we'll move on. That was a great discussion about storm. So we'll just move on to the state park reports. And now Hans gets to get into the meat of what he wanted to talk about.
Be here. Welcome back, Eric. Eric's back from time on frozen winter, so welcome back, Eric. We're at the hockey game. We got a line change. Jason Oakley is out of Brazil, back in a month. So that's Eric next to me. Got just a little list of things here, Robert, and then I've got some updates. There's some basically letter from Petrov, which I'm going to do with business.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever works for you. First things first, Robert sent it out, is just approving the advisory board. We've got, it's been on social media a few times. Wendy said or something. Thanks, Wendy. I've got applications here. Robert sent out an application. If you have questions, see park staff here, Robert, himself. Got a list of expired terms here from anyone's curious after we get that into that.
We know when that date is closing. You know, I was gonna look that up.
Yeah, we didn't put a date on it. We can do. Let's talk about that, Robert. How's that sound?
we, let that on the radio and TV with the announcement for the city.
Sure.
That'd be great.
I mean, I say sure mean we've got a press release that we sent to media. So we can do that again and make sure they got it. If they take the business.
Yeah, it was how many members are we? We have 12 members. We've had 14.
And we approved
Building commission, what is the membership?
Let's, I forgot what the maximum is. I think it might be 15. I think it is 15. Odd number is nice. 15 would be good.
And moving on here,
Just remember one thing though, the bigger the group, the more you need for,
we got, also with, as far as recruitment goes, we're soliciting, volunteer posts for our campgrounds throughout the region. Anyone that can talk to me or staff here. And also, volunteers for our, volunteers in parks program, VFP programs. Our staff. We're working on, updating the cyclone club's, year permit here, which has gone well the past year. And that, got, a request from, the Sewer Citizen Advisory Board regarding mooring buoys, and that's the topic. So, we're trying, trying to put mooring buoys in box for state parks. Hoping next year we can start to formalize, what we're in these state parks. And then we can, I realize this, we don't have anything to fall back to. Parks. So we're trying to, something statewide we can use. Parts of Kodiak and Southeast, we'll work on all state back large. This is long-term. Parts of the change. And then just a couple things on the list. We've got some discussions 2 weeks ago with Fine Lands and Water. Rough time frame again for the finalization of the ILMA, to see the management agreement. Probably these things in this. So, it's the meeting. That's the meeting. Which is great. Then along those lines is driveway parking lot there on Cotton. This thing has been estimated that there's money coming out of the. Sure.
Yes, Jason.
Jason.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jason. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Any questions?
So IMLA, since the deadlines of the anything we can do to facilitate it, nurture it, and make sure that nothing foster correct.
Public comment period has been closed. Along with that. There's also an appeal period. There's public comment period and an appeal period. Those two time frames are closed. It's just the actual.
It seems like we've been here before.
I don't know. I'm certain that the public comment period has never happened in the past. It is never happened.
For that, yes, it has cruised along much further than it has in the past. Because it's been stuck in the paper pile. The mooring buoys have always been a thing of conversation around here. We've talked about that in the past. We know that there's a big concrete sinker still over here at Saddle Trail. And there might be some interest in getting some people, because it's a big lab over there, to go and look at that. Chain and everything that's on that, just to get an idea what kind of shape that's in. However, we don't know if they're gonna be an operating entity, but that conversation's going on. All right, let's move on.
Are there other places that you have during the week? They're everywhere, I mean, we need them.
We've had that discussion numerous times, and there is a liability issue, there is a maintenance issue, and there is cost involved, which is actually a rather large cost. Just, you have to pull them out and inspect them and this and that, and everything else.
We still want them.
It's just a great option of one back in something. Its point being is, you know, it's
I've forgotten how many we used to have. We used to have quite a few here, yeah, and it just,
it'd be nice to have a program.
yeah, yeah. Anything else? All right. Let's move on to committee reports. Thank you, Hans. Sorry to call you Jason. The boy in Brazil. You want to report on our little trails meeting earlier, Mr. Chair?
Sure. And you'll correct me. Please.
Well, actually, I'll tell you what.
Okay. Later.
Is at the trails meeting, we mainly talked about what the trails committee is going to do. So let's stop that under item H. Friends report. Okay, all right. Are you ready?
It says trails report.
I know, but that usually
It says my name.
doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't see your name.
It says trails.
That's the bottom. That's H.
All right. I know it's fine.
Okay.
Go forward.
Okay. So I should probably get closer to the. Today.
Thank you for doing that.
Okay. Okay. So the Friends met Monday, February 3rd. Kathy Sarnes presided. We had a quorum. We briefly talked about our budget and bank balance. And Allison, and moving on, we talked about kids across the bay. Allison is asking Dana Gregoire to pitch Kids Across the Bay to 100 Women Who Care, local organization that does excellent work. Kathy is looking to reduce her workload, and she submitted to all of us a list of all the things she does, and it is extensive. It was 6 pages. And so we're really looking to, take some of that workload off of her. In fact, I think she'd just really like most of that to go away from her, not from friends. And she's been working very hard. And the rest of us we've let Kathy work. So like I said, she provided a detailed list. Kathy and Hans and Eric plan on meeting to discuss hiring an ACC crew to work the trails this year. This is something that we've been talking about, and so hopefully later on this month there will be a meeting. And Friends has some money, not a lot, but we have some, and an ACC crew was one of the things we discussed as a budget item. We got an update on Cottonwood Eastland from Camille, and I don't know if is that on the agenda?
Yes.
Then I'm going to let Camille address all of the stuff that's been happening out there. And there's a lot going on. Allison is working on a search and rescue program, and that's something that's come before this board a number of times in the past. And but I think after what happened last year, and it was just one person that got lost over there for a couple of days. That really, it just brings it back up to the surface, back out to the front burner. And I think it's something that we should have, because more people are going to be hiking trails that they don't know. And
There's good people involved in that too.
yeah, there are, yes. And the EIS, Kathy's going to work on an EIS, and I know you guys mentioned that earlier, and I think it's extremely important if you're going to have any political clout. That's a great club to carry in your hand, is the amount of money that a park brings into a local community.
And that is she calls it an EIS.
That's it.
It's
Economic
economic
impact statement, not environmental.
correct movement.
So thank you for clarifying that. So that's just something that I really think this group should have, and our group should have, because like I said, it's a great club. Trails Day is on our calendar, as I'm sure it's on yours. That's June 7th. We're working on, getting volunteers. It's up to the state park and Eric to come up with some projects. And Dana handles all of the volunteer forms, so she's responsible for getting those out into the community. And last but not least, well, that's for the February 3rd meeting. And then we're getting a bookkeeper. We're paying a bookkeeper. Yay. So, and then this last Monday the 10th, we met to discuss budget. So we had budget. That was, we got into detail on budget. So we've got some money, and I'm going to put it to use the best way possible. And
I would just remind everybody that we need to get 10 people each for the trail day. June 7th, is it?
June 7th, first Saturday.
10 people.
Alan,
I misread it.
ready? Thanks, Marco.
I thought we discussed that too.
Well,
Are you gonna discuss that?
yeah,
We're gonna discuss that.
Okay, good. All right. We don't see any other questions. All right.
Well done. Thank you, friends.
uh,
What would we do without you?
Water trail. Got anything to say, Dave?
Not really, not much happening yet, but
Quiet.
I've seen kayaks on a couple of vehicles around town, and with water the way it was today, it's gonna be a bigger interest, but we did set aside, a little bit of money to go towards public use cabin someday. So looking forward to a kayak safety class again this spring, but we haven't committed to that yet.
And I think the Friends committed to starting a fund also, which we will administer, if you will, and just put it as an item in the ledger. So we'll start accumulating money for that.
Mr. Chairman, for a public use.
Correct.
And do you have any idea where?
That discussion will be had proper time. We don't have much money there yet, but you gotta start somewhere, so. And thanks to Nick for initiating.
He's like a little badger.
Never mind.
Oh, he's tougher than that. Conwood Eastland, you got anything, Camille?
Lon's already gave you a couple of significant updates. Probably one of the most significant things that has happened is that Ptarmigan Trails, the company that did the trail layout, will not be doing the trail build. So we have put together a request for quote that has gone out to the Professional Trail Builders Association. And by sending it to them, they send it out to every member in the world for quotes. So we are going through that process. We have built a separate website specifically for trail building information quotes to come into us. That's probably about it. Yes. I had one other quick thing. The plan is to build the parking lot this summer and we would start trail build next summer. Trail builders are booked out years in advance. So finding a competent trail builder is going to be a challenge.
So is the money, the grant that I heard?
The RTP grant for $200,000 is good until October 1st of 26.
So has it been actually done? So what is something that or we have to clear that the administration?
Well, it is, that comes from the feds, and so any money that comes from the feds potentially is in jeopardy. The state of Alaska has not physically received that money. Still is with the feds. So who knows what the feds are going to do. I think it's highly unlikely that those funds would get touched. That's just my personal opinion. You never know what's going to happen, and you just go forward as if everything, the money is there. That's all we can do.
Ellen,
Yeah, thank you. So what is the policy or what is the deal with the Cottonwood area as far as like having let brushing go on for the that area? You know, or is there
As of now, there's no brushing allowed in the parks.
is there a reason why? I mean, is it possible to do some brushing for some local for social trails, I think, or and it's been asked at the trail committee meeting, and so I just thought I'd see what the general sense was.
Just say no.
No? Just say no.
I just said no.
Oh, you just said,
I said no.
oh,
No brush.
I thought you were Nancy Reagan. No brushes.
Any other questions?
No, I think that sums it up.
Ask for other stuff.
No, other stuff?
He said smart move.
Well,
That means
I was thinking about, you said other stuff. I was trying to, my mind went wild. Okay, no, thanks.
that's a decision that has been made in the past until things move along.
Okay. I'm good with it. It's pretty quick. I'm fine with it.
Anybody else? The question? Aaron, you got anything?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Or can, Aaron?
So 17.4 has not been plowed, so it's hard to find a place to park. And if you can find a place to park, there's plenty of snow for snowshoes and skiing. That's all I have.
Thanks, Aaron. Make a point to call. All right,
somebody else too.
you'd like to call. Find out how much they want.
So calling, Troy,
For their office out there.
yeah, the office, I've talked to them before, and how about the you ever talked with
Aaron called, but nobody called back.
and at one point, there was a thing that we're gonna stop by there. Where they meet for coffee in the morning before they head out, or you know where that is?
Oh, of course I do. It's right up by my place up
Okay,
there.
you could tell me where and I could
And you should
take
bring
some
donuts.
donuts. Yeah.
Right up, it's right up by the dump. You know what you do? Right up there. I'll talk to you. All right. I don't see anything from Evelyn. I don't see Nikki or Judy with it. I don't see Nancy.
I was thinking that I was gonna say this to after the Friends report. That you know that Kathy was really hoping to get some other trail leaders. She and Jane are the only leaders that, since they're not on, Julie Steyer, Nikki, awesome leaders.
All the
They've been asked.
some quite a bit. But they're also gonna be working on their implements. They're more or less with the ski club, if I'm not mistaken. So ski club's kind of taking over everything.
I have a question.
I have the answer.
Do we have any map of all these areas? No. It's 17.4. I have never been in it. I don't really know. Any estimates.
If you ever done the parcel viewer on the borough website,
Parcel viewer, yeah.
and East End Road has mile markers on that.
And how about all the other places? Do we just have a little bit?
We're trying to bring in that Christmas show.
Be nice to have them list. But the 17.4, I know Aaron, we had a few different field trips as well. And I could take it. Oh, yeah.
Woohoo! I want them.
No,
That's a good idea.
I mean, it's it, we're all going.
Wrong.
Pick a date.
Might be something we could, or I don't know if we could make money, but for the shoulder project. Would make it to the state.
No, I'm saying.
You know, just like the land trust sometimes does a van tour of their sites. Maybe we could do on this side of the bay.
Or torch.
It's not too short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit late right now. Towards the stuff. But, yeah. Ideas. You, I like it. You know, it was Eastman Park. We'll have a parking lot out here to turn around in. Mr. Parks, you're up.
Oh my
Trails
God.
Committee.
God. The moment I've been waiting for. Okay. The trails, what's its trails report? Gosh. Well, it's a trails meeting report, the trails report, but we have a date for an event to help support the expand volunteer pool for the friends. It's May 17th, 4 to 6 p.m. It's prior to that, on May 14th, there's going to be a coffee table about the state park. And so basically, we're working on securing a venue, which might be here, most likely not. Methodist Church might be the place.
School common, that's something like.
Could be the high school commons. That's another place. We just kind of go down the list. The college is not available that day. So we checked a few places. So we're working on that. The theme is, and the goals of the event is expand the volunteer base for trails, and the theme is every day is Trails Day. And we're hoping to get somewhere around 50-ish people to it, and based on our networking with the friends, it's about cherry picking leaders out of that group, out of our contacts, Jude Sire, others, whoever we can think, and getting them tuned up to be leaders. We also understand that the training takes some time, and we're trying to also organize in a way that it has longevity to it. So like reaching out for really good training program would be for in 2026. And being better at capitalizing at some of the training opportunities that are already going on with something, but and it's also not necessarily an event that is going to solely trail workers. There's other areas that the friends need help with in regards to admin and support for their trail work and other stuff they got going on. So the basic theme is helping the awesome people involved in the friends. Like 2 of them or 3 of them here, 4 of them here now. There you go. I think, did I cover it? Did I miss anything? Yes, I did. Oh, we've met 3 times. And we're gonna meet again between now and the next meeting. When Morgan is around. I don't think she's on, is she? No. Yeah, Morgan's what? Anyway, Morgan's an awesome, she's good.
She's a good organizer.
Yeah. Other than that, we did have, we are, kind of trying to be, the Trails Committee is trying to be the conduit for the CAB of all things trails. So, and then we can kind of have the detail of any one subject maybe hashed out a little bit more before it's brought before the. That's it. Good question. I got an answer.
Plan, yeah, so I know we're gonna be days Justin, but it's a day that you actually go, that's. What day?
That is June 7th.
So,
That's June 7th. And that, that's a national day of trails work. And we will be working on, specific projects and working with Eric, because I know state parks folks have different projects they want to do, and they've got, anyway, so we're going to be working.
and so when do you get have a list of volunteers, so they ask them to try to just to be part of that. So is it reason training or
What's that?
there's or something you have to do?
There's an application, not go there.
Yeah, there is a form that comes out. The 2025 form isn't out yet. And so when the new form is available, we'll airdrop it everywhere. And so that's one of the things that has to be done.
So what I'm getting at is, what is, June 7th is the, when do you need this?
Well, we're organizing our event on the 17th of May. So that's, yeah, I think we're going to have forms there, and I think the forms will be available sooner than that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so,
The form for the state park side of it can be done, they can get that done this week.
yeah, okay.
That's really simple.
But we just got to have the right form.
Right, it's, yeah,
it's easy on my end. I think what Glenn's asking, which I can help out with that, is like we usually try to cut it off about 5 business days ahead of Trails Day, because some of the stuff it has to get sent up to Anchorage to get signed off on and all that, and that just gives that little bit of lag time if somebody's not in the office or something gets dropped or something has to come back and get, more information has to be added because somebody forgot to do this, and we don't have the answer to that.
You have to fill it out ahead of.
Correct.
So
Correct.
when the form's available, Robert or somebody can send it out to us. So that I asked them,
You can also get those forms at Microsoft, and you can turn them back in at Office.
I'll do it electronic.
But yeah, I can, if somebody wants to shoot me an email, I can shoot the form for you. This is the state part 1, not necessarily the Friends waiver, but that's usually the Friends tries to put that package together that gets sent to Homer Song.
Dana.
Pick that up.
Yeah. Dana is,
Gains that point percent still.
as I understand,
And I think that we've been saying that there's a 2-week turnaround on that. And it used to have to go to Juno. So if you snooze, you lose on that.
Yes. Basic, the timing of the May 17th was based on, having enough lead time for Trails Day, doing some training, and also Kathy being back. So, it's window, it's shooting.
And who's gonna be on the coffee table? Is it friends or is there Eric?
we are developing that list now. Yeah. A maximum of 4 people. Kathy is on the list. I've asked her that. So I have a little bit more. We were talking about, Steve brought up the 10 volunteers per person to bring. I think, once we get, everything pinned down on the event that we're having on the 17th, where it's gonna be, we know when it's gonna be, we just don't know exactly where. And we'll have that stuff and be disseminated out to the public and to communities to recruit people. So that,
Just looking in the sport, book, on chapter 4, page 15. It says that, long trails, you all, about the, go to Santiago and the Great Blocks Trail in New Zealand and the Appalachian Trail. This says in 2022, the Alaska legislature approved funding for key segments of an Alaska long trail. And I'm just wondering, if you know anything about that, where the funding is, where.
Well, the long trail, that's on Seward, I think, in the Resurrection Trail and goes way north to the North Slope eventually. So pretty much across Alaska this way. And there's going to be huts, stuff like that. And where the funding is coming from, I don't know. But it's mentioned in SCORP. People in the legislature know about it. It's a popular amenity for Alaska that a lot of people are supporting, but I don't know the details on it.
Okay, so there's no Kachemak component to the long trail design.
But there very well could be. I mean, there's no reason why Homer or Kachemak Bay couldn't connect to Seward or part of the long trail.
I hope to Homer.
There's been talk.
Yeah.
Many years, 6 years.
pretty much all I done.
Okie dokie. Whole business. Update on the personal watercraft loss. You all know where we're at, right? Personal watercraft are still illegal in the critical habitat area, which encompasses the park. Before the Supreme Court of Alaska. The Superior Court granted legal fees to the organizations that were plaintiffs. And states did not object to that, so apparently some of us didn't get some money. However, the big decision rests with the states. I think they got their hands full, and Lord knows what they're going to say. But this is as good as money. Yes. And they have not asked, the court has not asked for the funds. It doesn't mean it does they have a chief justice. How they're going to be. They would ask. So this is just. I don't know if you had any chance to look at the suggestions for the bylaws. I'm not going to go.
Things like that. We did come up with.
So, yeah, RFP yet. But I wanted to just see what it flew with anybody else. You know, just follow the contract, have that other place, okay? See you, Marco. Petra subdivision. I know there has been all kinds of talk about that. We had some questions about who has jurisdiction, who has the right of way. Is it DOT, is it DNR, or is it parks? And it seems like a very multifaceted situation. So I think Hans had some answers.
Do. Just might be more questions.
Yes, undoubtedly.
So, I'll, just take off if that's okay, Robert.
Yep.
Good answers to the letter provided by the board here with 10 bullets or so. Some of those answers a little difficult without visuals. Maybe I'll start on the non-visual answers. First of all, this who has regulatory authorities for this parks. Vision 9 lanes of water. There are 2 that have uncovered so far. Last week we had there's some question of who they manage the right of ways. Discovery work I've done as far as that those line with.
Not the girl.
Yeah, if you have questions along the way, do you want us to ask, or do you want to just finish your report?
Yeah, I don't know, Robert, any preference? If we just, it's fine with me.
I can go either way.
Okay.
Just for
I can just go ahead, Alan.
Oh, thanks. So what you're saying is that, can you repeat what you just said?
Sure. The first bullet is who has regulatory authorities over this area? That's a broad question. But for the land management, for what I believe this letter pertains to, state parks. The division of mine lands, all this, which is another division.
So does that include inside the subdivision?
the Division of Mine Lands and Water to, I understand this now. They manage the right of ways.
Okay. So they, and do they, what do they require for people to access that right away? Okay, okay.
I don't, I mean, I can skip that. So they have an application process for use by the office. Sure. Provided. This ties into the historic documentation. Shows. It's right there. So, of the parks. Silo instead of.
So does the borough understand that now?
I don't know.
Okay.
So let's follow the conversation. So, boroughs were granted planning authority and some point along the lines here as they're insured. I understand the age of the subdivision. If it is a borough for some odd twisted fate, it's the same requirement.
If I may, the borough's under the assumption that
They might,
they do. I absolutely, I talked to them that way.
sure.
And then the Division of Mining and Water, DNR division, they have a much more stringent permitting process than the borough.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's, um, how much of the state parks allowed to be affected for access to subdivision? I mean, the book answer is none. I believe that, what effective means is in the air, right, but, we allow access to, we allow special use permit to access right of ways within the subdivision across state park lands. The impact would be non-renewable. We are. Is there public right of way, tidelands and state parks from passing from the avenue? It doesn't appear that way. Based on the plat. Are petrofan holders allowed to cut state parks trees, trees? How many and for what? This would be two prongs here based on listening. It's a meeting in December. Trees on the right of way are owned by whoever owns the right of way, not owned by individuals and you have private lands. If you have this is not an uncommon uncertainty amongst landowners. If you have an easement on the property, say utility easement, then you do own them. For example,
The utility
rights of ways are
the utility owns the tree.
you own the trees. DNR does, we can permit the cutting of trees on parks land through a special use permit. We have the ability to do that. So, to my knowledge, no one's ever asked for a special use permit, especially this. Is there a vehicle weight limit design designated through state parks lands? I have not heard of this on state parks lands. I know the Habitat Division sometimes limits some water crossings. Or federal counterparts do if they're operate vehicles. So, what other jurisdictions may be involved in this area other than the borough in parks, in mine lands and water? Jones Point. Parcels E and F, the subdivision and the state parks jurisdiction, yes. I don't know of any other specific directives in the outposts that drop in the leadership plan. Check lines.
There's probably some federal, it looks like there's some federal lands ownership or jurisdiction on the tide rights. In that encompass alongside F and E, or maybe not E, but F. It's.
Yeah, I think those, if they're not from the state park, would be, the bond.
The property owners thinks it's. Just they thinks it's that. That makes sense.
I don't doubt that. Just to follow up too, we did follow up with an email from Mr. Bailey after he wrote an email to us. Wasn't get him lost. This. On the copy, which is fine. And then Jason also followed up with all.
Your email just said, answer these questions that you're answering right now.
No, the email just said, let me just preface that first. For us to get, in my time of state service, for us to get comments from the public about things that are happening, proposed things that may happen based on the neighborhood or that they've heard in their neighborhood what may happen. The agency response is always, thank you for letting us know this. Sounds like a dynamic situation with the rest of what's happening. These changes goes. That makes sense, for us to presume something's going to be done. It's just, it's the base. So that's what that is. I need to have a follow-up discussion now for your comment with the borough. I'll do that, follow up there. And then we'll get into the third path. Any potential, it's going to have for any potential, future development will occur. Other ways will be developed. I'm looking at this evolve here. And this will just help us, obviously, these are just help us when that comes.
To clarify then, what's the individual who wants to larger, so clear cut. Areas. Okay.
I think in the general answer will be yes. I don't think my right of way kind of what I've been exposed to, my professional career with that is, your development of right of way is tied to your private property, right? You can't for someone to go and clear all the trees and all the right of way in the subdivision. I believe that would be allowed. I believe the clear the trees and the right of way to the property. But I don't believe that I haven't seen it allowed where right of ways are provided to provide access.
So I have a piece of property in the subdivision that's it's, like in the farthest whatever direction. With so can I create a access road from any like anywhere?
Yeah, I can't answer that because I don't manage the right of way. But yes, you can use the right of way to access your property.
I think they're platting roads. This has been some, that's all subdivided out. Trouble is finding where that went.
So, but it's the road, are they roads?
No,
four-wheeler trails or side-by-side trails. But, you know, that's what that subdivision looks like. And it's all platted, so
and it's really.
all the outlying areas and the Thailand's a state park. So when you look at the subdivision, I do not see a right of way from the subdivision into the Thailand's. And that was, so they'd have to get a permit from parks.
Maybe the better way to say this, anyone who accesses that subdivision now. It's a permit from parks, do so.
Even the owners, the landowners.
They're using a motorized vehicle.
Also along that lake, you know, there's airplanes landing in the lake. So,
Sure.
chisel. There's
Yeah. We have issued special use permits for land and road. Yeah,
But this is another filter.
Ellen,
Thank you. The way the rural road service department, who in their mind controls the right of way, in their mind, they issue a permit for 1 year, and you have to tell them exactly what you're doing on the right of way. I mean, it's not like a blanket clear cut through from edge to edge. And they recommend surveying, but they don't require surveying. The, you know, the thing that I think as far as the cab is concerned, and maybe I'm sure Parks is too, is just how the two, whatever governing agencies are operating for individuals to access the right of way, access their property, is what damage is happening, because there's going to be damages in the border, but you know there's going to be some effect on state park land, and so I think, in my humble opinion, I haven't been there. I used to own a lot there. I haven't been there for a long time. I mean, and just from looking at everything, sound like I think it would be very worthwhile to go over there and before any permits are issued, because there's just nuances about it. You know, that whole beach is a big surf beach, and you know, I've said that before, everything. And I just think it'd be good to get a sense on it and document it, just so that future entities can know what we saw over there. And, you know, say that the lagoon isn't accessible anymore. You know, but I just think it'd be good to get some eyes on it, and see and what anybody has, what they've done. I don't know. When's the last time you've been there?
it was the last time I was about the Little Beach, I think it was before. But I've never been along the lake, Kachemak Lake.
Right. Anyway, I appreciate your taking the time to address our concerns. The rural, when I called them at first, they thought it was DNR that issued permit. Then I called them back to get clarification, and they said, "Oh no, we do it." So they're definitely different.
Yeah, just for clarification, you know, our crossroads for this project, we're looking on this neighborhood land on the right next to this. And especially this to get on to One question I didn't fully answer, he goes, what other agencies on that? Couldn't have thought, the division force to Venice, maybe across the funding lots. Maybe that's not what I've ever said.
So, and I will draw your attention to this letter from Division Man Water. Yeah. So they still have jurisdiction.
Who says that?
Division, this is probably the division of
What year?
old 85. You know, but it says that, and I don't know what Roth wants to do with the locks. But he can't do a commercial operation.
If I may, I don't really care what he does as long as it's legal, you know, and as long as we know what he's doing and that he's not trying to do something that he's gonna want forgiveness for and not permission. That's the main thing. You know, he can go tear it up there. If that's what the law requires or allows, but if it's state park land, it's a different deal because, you know, that's our job. We're the stewards. We're the stewards of it. We need to make sure that, you know, there should, you know, and then if Mr. Roth is gonna, or whoever is gonna want access, that's gonna have, you know, a lasting adverse impact, meaning a road where heavy equipment or building equipment or whatever they need to grow over it is gonna, then that should be just the one access point. There shouldn't be a bunch of just one place where these guys can get in legally and we know what the impact is. I mean, that just makes total sense to me. And you know, that, but we're just, our reaction, or my reaction, I don't know what your guys is, but mine is just out of the unknown. I don't know. It's just like,
One thing that does not ring good with me is that unless he's just going on that existing road that Bailey has going from the beach area up to his property. But if he's thinking about doing anything else, you'd have to survey it.
I have a question on aviation, you know, for someone wanting to get a special use permit for aviation, like a commercial air taxi. It's for the park in general, right? It's not like we're on Glacier Lake or Emerald Lake, or, you know, this is the only land in this lake, or is it? Are they?
I think that's the name, so I would say certain places.
Right, so is it, when you issue a permit for aviation, so it's where you can't land is identified.
So you're asking about that. You have to put subdivisions.
Well, kind of, or just generally, because, you know, I know that air taxis take a lot of those property owners over there. And so they have a special use permit, but they might have it just in conjunction with a broader permit. It's not the question.
Yeah, so it was there, which remind me on I personally went to test commercial use versus special use permits, right? So commercial use permit is for a commercial operator. They designate as what park you want to operate. Of course, the other is business to this, the service they're providing is safe for their insurance. Subjected to agency screenings, etc. Special use permit is issued to an individual. There's an insurance requirement that authorizes a certain special use, certain use at a certain time. It's that type of parameters. You can take this, you can have your wedding. We think of it, stay this time. It's too bad. Or you can land your airplane at this location, this numbers. The plane's that's
They're landing on the beach, Petroff Beach, especially, that's a special use permit. And got that done.
Either fully technical, I'll check it. They're in the management, and there are 4 lakes that are open. For land. That can be found in the management, and then it's Shiny Creek Lake, it's Hazel Lake, Emerald Lake, and I think Petroff is open for landing. We're like, it's closed. Upper Hazel's closed, Lake Connect is closed. You can access those and take special use permits. If you're a commercial operator or not.
management licenses. And
I'm thinking of putting a car wash on my property. Building a lodge beside the park.
Onward.
Thanks, Tom. Still here, outstanding questions.
Thank you for
considering new patients. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right. Snow plowing.
Oh,
Somebody fell down on that one.
I'll,
You and I'll talk about that.
and I'll take you on.
Cool. So I talked this economic impact statement. I talked to Kelly Cooper, who was on the committee that the borough stood up. And it had more to do with business. Economic benefit of businesses. Not necessarily just recreation.
I would like to have a committee on this board to work on with the friends on Kachemak Bay State Park economic impact or study.
So I
And
think the thing to do is to find out how we can do it, and if anybody wants to take the time to do a little research.
Well, could we
Because
have a committee?
I'm not willing to do it, but if anybody else is, plain and dandy. Alan,
Thank you. I'm not like a big wizard on economic impact statements, but I've been around them a little bit in the commercial, like 40 years as a commercial fisherman. And I've read a lot of them. And I've listened to people who have done their armchair impact statement. And I think if the purpose of the economic impact statement is to be a lobbying tool, an outreach and education tool, it can. I've told friends this. No, you got to hire it done. You have to have credibility, and even if you can do it on your own, but it's a lot of data analysis. I just kind of feel like if that's the purpose of the tool, purpose of it is to be a lobbying tool and an outreach and education tool, then the benefits of that will be diminished.
If it's not
If it's-
professionally done.
If I could finish, if it's not professionally finished and it's worth the money. It could be 30 grand. I don't know how much it is, but there's companies that do that. So that's my 2 cents. I'm not interested in suing. But I welcome it.
We can start somewhere.
so my thought is that we had broached this subject and somebody said, well, why don't you keep find somebody at the University of Alaska that, you know,
So maybe our committee could investigate this.
Right. Yes.
sure.
I
Go
think
ahead.
that I'd be happy to, serve on a committee
Cool.
where that is a potential, way that we can make this happen is have a professional firm and figure out how to pay for it. So basically, we still want to trails where have opportunities to meet outside of this, get a more frequent pace as well.
And
Don't
if
get-
we
don't-
could have a, we could meet with friends like Kathy.
We can bring it up at a board meeting and see where we want to go with that, but I can tell you that everybody is.
Well, it sounded like from Marco's report that Kathy was working on it. We can work with Kathy.
I can tell you Kathy's not been working on it. She has got it in her mind, but
But somebody around here maybe, I mean, some professional organization that. No,
No, I was looking up to.
so if you two, I want to get moving on here.
Okay, could I say what I wanted to say from the beginning of this conversation? Is that I talked with Home Foundation. When you do this money that they think would be appropriate, very appropriate for it. And so we gotta start with somewhere, so let's have a committee.
I'm not. The only reason,
Talked to Hans a little bit, and he said, send them the application, and, you know, it would be good if it was state parks applying versus Friends, because Friends already gets with it.
the only reason I shot my mouth off is I don't have time.
I know you do.
But I am also said in the past that I am completely behind trying to get a valuable,
And
Incredible.
professional, I agree,
know,
but I think we gotta start somewhere rather than just keep.
I look forward to hearing what you guys do.
Great case.
do we have to? Yeah, we have to do the motion.
I
I
think
move to create a committee of this, investigate how these, statements.
is there any objections?
Great.
I'd like to do.
All right,
Mr. Chairman,
I'm gonna move on
just real quick,
quick.
could you please, when your committee meets, I'm assuming that, Sue is the chairman, and could you disseminate when you meet to the board? And so then, if I got time, I'll.
Yeah, and I think that we figure out,
Just whenever you meet, it'd be great to know.
All right, item F, I don't know what in earth that's, but somebody must have been that asleep. But I will tell you that Friends allocated $3,000 to buy some trail counters. And over there somewhere. And probably. And the next one was also talking about a person for the summer or a volunteer to do specifically go over there and get those counted once a month and collect that data. So we haven't had a big discussion about that yet, but there was some chatter about, okay, well, if they're gonna do that, they can go around and get the campsite registrations and everything. And possibly look at the outhouses and, but if they're gonna get a free boat ride all around, that is some kind of a draw. So we're still kind of talking that one out.
Michael talked about that, Robert. Seasonal system.
Everybody knows you got. If your term is gonna expire, get your application in.
When's it due? Soon.
May first, Robert, should say that.
Okay.
Before the end of I think May 1st is a good one. That
We'll see.
Yeah.
Meeting.
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to get our last meeting of the year, which is in May. The board is supposed to go over applications in, executive session and give the director recommendations. That's right. So at least by, a week or two before our last May meeting.
Well, is it encouraged for current board members to want to request a new session?
Sure, absolutely. We like people that kind of know what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I give this to me.
Want to take one? Sure. Yeah, we're still here. That's gone down. Thank you. All right, let's move on. There's no informational material tonight. Oh. New business, effects of federal budget cuts on funding for state and water conservation funds. I think it's a little premature to contemplate what's going on with federal funding because I think Elon knows what's going on with that, except he doesn't want to see him. So I hope that our GP money that has been allocated stays there. You guys haven't heard any big uproars about that. Yeah. Okay, no informational material, no public comment. I don't see any public there. Wendy, thanks for showing up. Comments of park staff.
Just gonna wait for the next supervisor board meeting. So that.
Is this the end?
What?
Are they ending?
Oh, we were worried.
You won't recognize the face.
Oh, I'll recognize me.
That's good.
Eric, you got anything?
I'm still working on a grant extension and asking for more money. Good luck.
Good
I'm
luck.
meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers on Thursday. So we'll see how that goes. Feels like a presentation.
Oh,
We're sitting in.
you need a permit for that.
Well, it's because the bridge area is being moved and it's all good that ends up, it's not happening on the existing corridor. So we had to go and I had to do an environmental review thing again. And hence things have changed between the four since it was done a few years back. And there's new people and so. But it should hopefully go pretty smoothly.
Cool. Bunch of board members. Sue.
Just thank you for, especially you guys, for being here and sitting through it all. We're so lucky, we're so blessed. Amazing first inside. Being so passionate about it. How come?
Mr. Sheehan. Aaron Peterson, you got any final comments?
Thanks to everybody who participated tonight.
You too. Thanks for listening.
We might need you on the field trip.
I'll be there.
I would like to say on my property at Kentucky Bay, there's an archaeological site that's 1,000 years old, that's been carbon dated, and it was a heart where people So I would like to think that 1,000 years from now, our park is. I also have been watching, down a little rabbit hole of YouTubing with, Bill Gates, and he has a huge program of providing toilets, to the world. I'm just wondering if, maybe the Bill Gates Foundation might be, these are like flushless toilets or something, like maybe we could, hook up to the Gates Foundation, or, like a trip to Mars. I'm gonna write him a letter, I will write it down. Right to Bill Gates.
Everything. Trip starts with first step.
You never know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bonds, and thank you, Eric, for being here tonight. Appreciate it. Here and forward to the field trip. And yeah, I feel like I'm getting more involved. I do have to hold myself back. I am still employed full time, although my job is funded federally. I might have a lot of free time this summer for work.
You need for not knowing, where are you working?
I'm at a nonprofit called Earthscope, Scotia. Seismic networks.
Mr. Parks.
I got a lot to say.
No, you only got 5 minutes, buddy.
Thanks for everybody, for your work on the Petrock deal. It's ongoing. I really look forward to doing a field trip. And we should be over. It's a great place. Seems like I have more to say about something, but I guess I don't. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate everybody's. Good to see you soon. I haven't seen you at meeting. I think this is the first time I've seen you. You've been online.
I'm usually, or lately.
It's so good to see everybody.
Motion to adjourn.
Amen.
We're done. Thank you all. Thank you.
We should put
Thank you.
a status report.
Not fun, you don't have about a trails meeting.
Yeah, where are we going?
Okay.
Well, I come back